Welcome dear learners. In the first part of video lecture on rural culture, we have learned about the basic concept of rural culture, its characteristics and components constituting rural culture. We have also discussed about the rationale of rural culture in rural marketing. In today's video lecture, we shall focus on the influences of rural culture along with the strategies adopted for execution of sales in rural market and drawbacks of rural culture. Let us begin with understanding the impact of rural culture. Building on our understanding of what rural culture is, let's now specifically examine its direct impact on rural markets. In countries like India and many other emerging economies, the rural market has indeed grown into a very significant and dynamic part of the overall economy. Its large size, increasing spending power, and evolving aspirations present substantial market potential for businesses. However, to truly succeed in these markets, simply recognizing their potential isn't enough. A deep understanding of rural culture, its festivals, languages, ways of life, customs, social norms, values, and beliefs is absolutely essential. This cultural fabric directly influences consumer behavior, shaping what they decide to buy, why they buy it, and how they ultimately use products. As we have discussed, rural culture is fundamentally shaped by community living, agricultural practices, and the adherence to long held traditions. People in these areas are heavily influenced by their families, community leaders, and local customs, perhaps even more so than their urban counterparts. As we have discussed, rural culture is fundamentally shaped by community living, agricultural practices, and the adherence to long held traditions. People in these areas are heavily influenced by their families, community leaders, and local customs, perhaps even more so than their urban counterparts. Their daily lives and spending patterns are deeply linked to agricultural seasons, religious and folk events, and the shared values that guide community behavior. This cultural background doesn't just affect individual preferences, it often dictates collective buying patterns. Marketeers who fail to consider these deep seated cultural factors risk missing opportunities or, worse, fail their target audience. Conversely, those who make their strategies culturally sensitive are significantly more likely to build rapport and achieve success. Let's now drill down specifically into how rural culture directly influences consumer behavior. This isn't just about preferences, it's about the fundamental processes by which rural consumers evaluate options, decide what to purchase, and use products. Understanding these behaviors is paramount for any company targeting this market. First, making decisions with the community in mind. In rural settings, purchasing decisions are rarely made in isolation. Individuals are heavily influenced by the opinions and recommendations of their family, village elders, and social circles. For more significant purchases like farm equipment, vehicles, or even home appliances, it's common for people to seek advice from trusted friends and family. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful here. Therefore, marketers must be acutely aware of this group decision making process instead of solely targeting individuals. Strategies should focus on building trust through community engagements, leveraging local leaders, and providing excellent after sales services to generate positive word of mouth. Second, customs and feasts play a huge role. Religion and traditional practices are central to rural society. Festivals, traditions, and ceremonies mark important life events like wedding, birth, and harvest. These periods significantly influence purchasing behavior. Major festivals often see the highest level of buying power from items ranging from clothing and jewelry to home goods and even durable assets like tractors. Companies whose advertising aligns with these cultural moments, perhaps by using local symbols, themes, and language, are much more likely to be accepted and resonate deeply with the audience. Third, buying patterns based on the season. Given that most rural economies, especially in India, are agro based, income is directly tied to crop cycles. Farmers typically receive a lump sum of money after harvesting and selling their produce. This creates distinct seasonal increases in buying power. The purchasing of consumer goods, durable items, and even vehicles is directly linked to these agricultural cycles. Businesses that understand this economic rhythm are successful when they adopt their selling, stocking, and distribution strategies to maximize the opportunities during the post harvest boom period. Fourth, price sensitivity is a defining trait. Consumers in rural areas tend to be very careful with their spending. They prioritize durability and long term value much more than brand status or style. The focus is firmly on a product's functionality and practical usefulness. With often limited disposable income, there is a strong preference for products that are affordable, easy to repair, and built to last. This means marketeers must ensure their products meet these criteria and crucially communicate the reliability and potential cost savings over the product's lifespan to rural customers. Understanding consumer behavior driven by rural cultural naturally leads us to how this influences the marketing plans themselves. Rural culture doesn't just change who buys and why, it dictates how businesses should approach branding, product design, packaging, and even distribution. First, branding and messaging must be tailored to each area. Advertising campaigns become much more engaging when they use regional languages and incorporate images or symbols important to the local culture. Using local faces, folk songs, specific dialects, or traditional designs in ads build trust and emotional connections. Companies like Hindustan Unilever and ITC have successfully employed these regional approaches to resonate with rural audience. Second, designing and packaging goods needs specific considerations. Rural consumers often prefer products in small, affordable packages like sachets or small pouches. This isn't just about cost, it also relates to storage limitations in rural homes where refrigerators or ample storage space might be uncommon. Furthermore, products that are durable and easy to use are highly valued. For instance, mobile phone designed for rural markets often focus on features like long battery life and rugged build quality over advanced technical specifications. Third, distribution and easy access require creative solutions. Rural populations are often spread out, making the final stage of delivery, the last mile, difficult and costly using conventional methods. Weekly village markets, known as hats or periodic fairs, melas, are common and crucial points of sale and interaction. These are more than just places to buy and sell, they are social hubs where people meet and share information. Companies can effectively use these sites for product displays, live demonstrations, offering samples, and running promotional campaigns, allowing for direct connection with the community and its cultural rhythm. Given the significant impact of rural culture, companies aiming for growth, especially in regions with large rural population like India, where around 65% of people live in villages, must focus strategically on this market. However, marketing here is fundamentally different from urban settings precisely because rural culture, with its unique customs, values, beliefs, and social structures, so heavily influences everything. Success requires unique approaches that prioritize cultural relevance, build deep trust, and adapt to the specific local environment and consumer choices. Let's explore some effective strategies. First, a foundational strategy is learning about the local culture and how people act as customers. Before any plan is made, companies must deeply understand rural life, its customs, specific languages, and buying habits. This includes recognizing that rural population tend to be conservative, highly respect their community, and adhere strongly to their values. Decisions are heavily influenced by social groups like family and village leaders. By knowing these values, businesses can create products, ads, and campaigns that truly reflect rural aspirations and beliefs, making offerings more relatable and acceptable. Second, customization of product and offering low prices is key. Given the emphasis on value, products must be cheap, durable, and offer good value of money. To address limited disposable income, businesses should offer goods in small packages or sachets, making purchases more accessible without a large upfront cost. Products designed with simple features that emphasize durability and easy of use are highly preferred, meeting practical needs directly. Third, advertising and promotion must cater specifically to the areas. Ads for rural audiences need to be in the local language and feature local holidays, practices, and scenes from daily life. Incorporating folk music, local art, or community stories help build trust and emotional bonds. Large companies like Coca Cola and Hindustan Unilever often use local celebrities or relatable characters in regional settings. Importantly, in remote villages where smartphones and internet penetration is low, traditional media like wall paintings, posters, banners, and village theater slides can be far more effective than digital ads. Fourth, focus on the use of leaders of opinion and influencers. Rural residents often seek advice from trusted individuals before buying. These thought leaders can be shop owners, village elders, local teachers, or heads of farmer groups. Given the strength of word of mouth pertaining with these local influencers for product demonstrations, sample distribution, or awareness camps can significantly build trust and drive sales. Fifth, taking part in local fairs and arts is crucial. Weekly markets, fairs, and arts are vital social commercial centers in rural areas. For businesses, they offer a perfect opportunity for direct interaction with customers through live demonstrations, offering discounts, running contests, and simply engaging face to face. These community events are excellent for showing products to large group of potential consumers, building both trust and brand visibility. Sixth, marketing campaigns must be timed out, fit cultural norms. Buying patterns in rural market are strongly influenced by holidays and seasonal cycles. Significant purchases tend to happen during festivals, religious events, and particularly after harvest when income increases. Companies can align their marketing efforts with regional harvest celebrations or major festivals. Promotions like discount, prize draws, or free giveaways can be highly effective during these cultural significant peak buying periods. Seventh, getting people to trust you by providing good service after the sale is paramount. Rural buyers tend to be conscious initially, but once they trust a brand, their loyalty is significant and lasting. Providing reliable after sales services and support is critical for long term success. Setting up local contact points or service centers at the village level to handle repairs, replacements, and customer issues directly leads to customer satisfaction and encourages positive word of mouth. Eighth, changes are needed to the distribution network because rural areas are often spread out and disconnected. The delivery network needs to be robust and adaptable. Companies often use a hub and spoke model where goods are sent from a central factory to regional warehouses and then distributed to smaller stores or agents within villages. Innovative methods like mobile van campaigns using bike vendors for difficult terrain and setting up rural retail kiosks help extend reach and make products easily accessible in remote areas. Ninth, using cell phones and digital activities is an emerging strategy. As smartphone prices drop and internet data becomes more affordable, digital marketing is gradually expanding into rural regions. Brands can utilize platforms like WhatsApp groups, create regional content on YouTube, use SMS marketing, and develop mobile apps available in local languages to connect. The digital content must be simple, culturally appropriate, and easy for users to share. 10th, corporate social responsibility that we call CSR and building up communities is highly effective. Brands that are perceived as contributing positively to the community, perhaps through initiatives like water conservation projects, supporting education, organizing health camps, or empowering women, are deeply appreciated. The community views the company not just as a seller of goods, but as a partner invested in their well being. This approach significantly builds trust and fosters long term brand loyalty. While the potential of rural markets is undeniable, particularly in countries like India with large rural populations, marketing in these areas present unique challenge. These difficulties stem largely from the distinct culture traits of rural people. Culture impacts everything from how consumers behave and live to how they perceive and commit to brand. While there is a great potential, the inherent characteristics and potential drawbacks of rural culture can make it difficult for marketeers to successfully establish their brands and products. Let us examine some key challenges. First, low level of literacy represent a major hurdle in many rural areas, particularly remote villages. Limited educational infrastructure means literacy rates can be low. This makes it challenging for consumers to understand written advertisements, product labels, or usage instructions, especially if they contain complex language or foreign terms. Marketeer must simplify messages and rely more on visual communication and local influencers, which isn't always effective without deep cultural context. Low literacy also limits knowledge about product quality or safety standard, increasing reliance on word of mouth over informed evaluation. Second, holding on to old ways of thinking and not wanting to change is a significant drawback. Many rural societies are deeply traditional, anchored in long standing habits and beliefs. This conservatism can make it difficult to introduce new products or technologies. Rural consumers often favor familiar, long established brands, even if newer options offer better quality or features. Their conservative nature can breed distinct towards new brands, particularly those promoting modern solutions. Gaining the trust of rural consumers and educating them about new product benefits requires substantial time and effort, slowing down market entry and adoption. Third, social influences and marketing decisions as a group poses a challenge. The strong social influence in rural areas means purchasing choices aren't always independent. Community opinions, the view of village leaders, family heads, and social groups significantly impact whether a product is accepted. This group decision making process can delay or even prevent the adoption of new offerings. If a single respected individual in the community disapproves of a product, it can negatively affect acceptance across the entire village. Marketeer must invest heavily in building relationships and managing local reputation, which adds complexity and cost. Fourth, seasonal income and the ability to buy things is a major economic constraint. Rural economies are primarily agricultural, resulting in income that is often seasonal rather than steady. The peak buying power typically occurs after the harvest. Conversely, during sowing periods or droughts, income is low and spending on non essential items reduces significantly. This seasonality makes it difficult for marketeers to ensure consistent sales throughout the year. Essential needs like food, seeds, fertilizers, and medicines are priority, leaving less money for lifestyle or luxury goods. This financial instability complicates market planning and sales forecasting. Fifth, there's a strong adherence to local and unbranded goods. Rural consumers often show strong loyalty to local products or unbranded goods. This is partly due to their cultural connections, affordability, and long standing presence, sometimes based more on belief or habit than formal marketing. This makes it hard for new companies to enter. Rural resistance may not switch to a competing brand even if it's perceived as better unless they are fully convinced or receive strong support from someone they trust. Marketeers face the challenge of investing substantially to break this established emotional bond. Sixth, problems with language and talking to each other are significant in a linguistically diverse country like India. Rural areas exhibit even greater linguistic variation with distinct regional languages, dialects, slang, and cultural phrases. Marketeers use standard language often fail to connect emotionally. This language barrier complicates communicating product benefits and usage instructions effectively. To overcome this, marketeers need to create region specific advertisements and hire local sales personnel who can communicate frequently, which adds operational cost and complexity. Seventh, modern technology is slowly being adopted. While smartphone and internet access is growing, rural consumers are often slower to adopt new technologies and may distrust tech based solutions. Hesitancy exists regarding digital payments, mobile apps, and online shopping due to fear of scams, perceived complexity, or simply a lack of familiarity. This reluctance means Businesses must continue relying heavily on traditional channels like brick and mortar stores, mobile van marketing, and local fairs, which limits scalability and increases distribution costs compared to urban markets where digital transactions are common. 8. Faith and superstition can directly influence purchasing. In many rural areas, superstitions and old beliefs persist and can impact buying decisions. Consumers might avoid certain items if they believe they bring bad luck or go against their faith, even if these beliefs lack logical basis. Marketers must navigate these belief systems with extreme caution to avoid offending cultural or religious sentiments. This sensitivity is particularly high for products related to health, personal care, and food, where even minor misunderstandings can lead to widespread rejection of a product. To summarize, the rural market, particularly in regions with large rural populations like India, presents substantial growth opportunities for businesses. However, navigating this market is complex due to the unique challenges posed by rural culture. Factors such as limited literacy, traditional mindsets, seasonal income patterns, strong loyalty to local or unbranded goods, language barriers, the slow adoption of new technology, and prevalent superstition all make rural marketing more difficult than urban marketing. Success in rural markets depends time, the use of methods tailored specifically to the local areas, and crucially, a profound cultural understanding rather than simply focusing on selling products. Companies must prioritize building long term relationships, fostering trust, and creating genuine emotional connections with rural customers. Only by truly acceptance and integrating with the cultural fabric of rural life can businesses effectively overcome these drawbacks and build a lasting foothold in the vital market segment. Dear learners, we have discussed in this unit about the basic concept of rural culture, its characteristics, and components constituting rural culture. We have also discussed about the rationale of rural culture in rural marketing. We have also focused on the influence of rural culture along with strategies adopted for execution of sales in rural market and the drawbacks of rural culture. I hope you have enjoyed learning about rural culture and its influence on rural marketing in India. Thank you for your patient listening.